household, you were probably taught one golden rule about money: debt is evil. You were told to pay off your credit cards immediately, avoid financing at all costs, and work your fingers to the bone to clear your mortgage as fast as humanly possible. To the average working person, debt is a terrifying financial quicksand that drags you down into a loop of permanent monthly payments. But if you peer behind the closed doors of the truly wealthy, you realize something shocking. The richest people in the United Kingdom do not avoid debt. In fact, they absolutely love it. They use debt as a financial superweapon to accelerate their wealth, dodge the taxman legally, and multiply their fortunes while the middle class stays broke. The difference isn't the debt itself, it's how it's being used. The average person uses debt to buy depreciating liabilities that drain their current account. The wealthy use debt to buy appreciating assets that print cash. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the exact strategies the elite use to manipulate the banking system, and breaking down how you can shift your mindset to start using leverage to build real long-term wealth. The absolute foundation of this wealthy framework is understanding the difference between bad debt and good debt. Bad debt is consumer leverage. It is when you use a credit card, a personal loan, or a high-interest buy now, pay later scheme to purchase things that immediately lose value the second you buy them. We are talking about designer clothes, expensive holidays, or a brand new car on a personal contract purchase finance deal that locks in hundreds of pounds of your monthly cash flow. Bad debt destroys your future income by forcing you to pay interest on past consumption. Good debt, on the other hand, is investment leverage. It is when you borrow money at a low interest rate to purchase an asset that generates a higher rate of return than the cost of the loan itself. The wealthy look at debt purely as a business transaction, a tool to amplify their purchasing power. If they can borrow £100,000 from a bank at a 4% interest rate and invest that money into an asset that yields an 8% return, they are pocketing a clean 4% spread on money that wasn't even theirs to begin with. The most common real-world example of this strategy in the United Kingdom is the classic buy-to-let property model. Imagine the average person wants to invest in a residential property worth £200,000. They might work for a decade to save up the full £200,000 in cash, buy the property outright, and collect the rent. They have zero debt, which makes them feel safe, but they have completely capped their financial growth. A wealthy investor takes that exact same £200,000 of cash and uses the magic of leverage. Instead of buying one property outright, they split that cash into 4 separate £50,000 deposits. They go to a bank, secure 4 separate interest-only buy-to-let mortgages for £150,000 each, and purchase 4 identical properties worth £200,000 each. They now control £800,000 worth of UK primary residences with the exact same initial capital. When property prices rise by 5%, the cash buyer makes £10,000. The leveraged investor makes £40,000. Furthermore, the tenants are the ones paying off the mortgage interest every month while the investor keeps the capital gains. Debt has literally quadrupled their wealth-building speed. But the elite take this concept to a completely different level using a legendary global financial strategy known as buy, borrow, die. This is the ultimate legal loophole used by multi-millionaires to completely bypass the income tax system. Let us say a wealthy entrepreneur owns £10 million worth of shares in a highly successful business or a massive portfolio of global index funds. If they want to buy a luxury lifestyle, a standard person would sell some of those shares to get the cash. But the single second you sell shares in the UK, you trigger a massive capital gains tax bill. Or worse, if you pay yourself a massive salary from your company, HMRC will swallow up to 45% of it in income tax. To avoid this, the wealthy individual does not sell a single share. Instead, they walk into a private bank and use their £10 million investment portfolio as collateral to secure a low-interest line of credit. The bank happily lends them £1 or £2 million in cash at a razor-thin interest rate because the loan is backed by highly secure liquid assets. Now here is the magic trick. In the eyes of HMRC, borrowed money is not classified as income. You cannot tax a loan. By living off borrowed money secured against their investments, the wealthy individual enjoys a multi-million-pound luxury lifestyle while paying absolutely 0% income tax. Meanwhile, their underlying £10 million investment portfolio remains completely untouched, compounding quietly in the background at a rate that easily outpaces the cheap interest on the loan. When they eventually pass away, their estate sells a portion of the fully grown assets to clear the debt. Because of smart estate planning and allowances, the remaining millions are passed down to the next generation completely intact. They have successfully unlocked massive wealth, lived like royalty, and kept the taxman at absolute arm's length for decades, all by using the power of structural debt. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, that sounds fantastic for multi-millionaires, but how does the average British professional apply this leverage mindset without destroying their finances? You start by protecting and utilizing your core personal credit score as an asset. Your credit file is your financial passport in the UK. By keeping it clean, avoiding high-interest consumer debt, and managing your current account flawlessly, you ensure that banks will offer you the absolute lowest interest rates when you actually need to deploy good debt, instead of overpaying your low-interest residential mortgage as fast as possible out of fear, which completely locks up your liquid cash flow as dead equity inside the bricks and mortar of your home. You can choose to pay the minimum required amount and route your spare cash flow into high-growth investment vehicles. You are effectively using the bank's cheap mortgage capital to keep your own cash free to compound in the global stock market. The second major step is aggressively maximizing your annual £20,000 ISA allowance. While you might not be at the level of using private bank Lombard loans just yet, you can build a completely tax-free asset engine right now. By automating your investments into low-cost global index funds, insider stocks, and shares ISA, your capital compounds entirely shielded from capital gains tax and dividend tax forever. As that ISA grows into a substantial six-figure nest egg, it becomes your ultimate financial fortress. You are creating a massive pool of liquid wealth that gives you ultimate leverage over your life, allowing you to eventually negotiate better interest rates, invest in business ventures, or pivot into income-producing assets without ever being forced to rely on high-interest high-street credit cards or predatory consumer loans. Debt is not inherently good or inherently bad. It is simply a financial amplifier. If you tie it to liabilities, it amplifies your poverty and chains you to the corporate treadmill for the rest of your working life. If you tie it to compounding assets, manage your allowances strictly, and understand the rules of the UK financial system, it becomes the ultimate accelerator of personal freedom. You have to stop looking at money through the lens of fear and start looking at it through the lens of structural leverage. If this breakdown completely flipped your perspective on how debt and wealth really work in Great Britain, stop playing the financial game on the default settings. Want to unlock your path to financial freedom? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join the community right here at the Money Mard. We drop actionable, no-nonsense financial guides every single week to help you master your budget, smash through stealth taxes, optimize your investment wrappers, and build a life of genuine economic sovereignty. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below if you are going to stop overpaying your mortgage to invest instead, and we will see you in the next video. Be smart. Stay money mad.